Good morning, everyone. My name is Yvette Johnson. My pronouns are she and her. I've been asked to give a testimonial about why I give CCUU my time and my money. I'll begin. To paraphrase Thomas Paine, these are the times that try people's souls, and I, for one, am really a wreck. Most times I'm buzzing with a hum of existential anxiety. It's common for me to take that next step right down into melancholy, and then I want to disengage. When I say I need you all, I really mean it. You are my community, my peeps, and showing up to Sunday service restores my emotional balance. I started coming here in 2010, soon after my divorce. I knew that I needed to rebuild. A friend suggested Countryside Church, and the fact that Unitarian Universalists don't care whether you believe in a God or not. Well, I was intrigued. Immediately, I found opportunities for involvement. I joined what was then the Social Action Committee and later headed it for about 8 years. Just as an aside here, as many of you know, this committee ceased during our 2 years closed. Once a settled minister is in place, will be a good time to consider new possibilities. As a retired librarian, I was happy to see we had a monthly fiction book club, and folks were kind in sharing opinions, something that made an immediate impression on me, as my experience in work meetings was that the loudest and the fastest talkers dominated. I soon realized that the kindness was not a happy accident. It was aspirational. Many meetings I attended started with agreed-upon rules of behavior, simple rules for polite, thoughtful engagement. Sparked by this, I became more aware of my own behavior and sought to modify it, to become more mindful of my interactions with others. Now, funny thing, one of my biggest takeaways from this over the years, I began to apply these statements of kind behavior to myself. Wow, really? To myself? And I continue to improve. These days, my inner voice occasionally says nice things to me. I like the variety in the services. Those that speak to my heart as much as to my head are favorites. I recall last year's flower communion service in which we chose a flower for the next person in line, rather than choosing a flower for ourselves to take home. You remember that? This was a departure from previous annual services. We each received a flower chosen by someone else, and that flower felt like a holy gift to me. During the Christmas pageant, the birth of love, do you remember that? We had the opportunity to line up and peer into the cradle to see someone worth loving. And we saw our own reflections in a mirror placed there. I could have bawled, really. I tell you this with vulnerability, because I feel that you are seeking to become lights for yourselves and others too. That's what Unitarian Universalism can bring about in us, a personal transformation. From the very beginning of my coming here, I thought of it as a haven, not to hide away from the world in a silo, but to learn how to engage with it and stand up in such a way as to build bridges as possible. Now, we know this is not easy, and we need each other to help Unitarian Universalism extend itself and its message to engage the world in love. We can't do very much, but we can do something. And we can start here by putting this church on a better financial footing. Last year, I upped my pledge by 20%, and I have given to the endowment fund. I will raise my pledge this year also. Likely 10% more is what I can do. I think of this church as a place that just has to grow, because to shrink would be sickening and even unthinkable. Everything currently in place here feels organically right and absolutely necessary. For instance, our dynamic RE, a place for young people to learn that their opinions count, that their anxieties can be aired and lessened. They are actively encouraged to form their own religious or non-religious beliefs. That's huge. Or what about Chalice House, a nationally recognized success story, and the fabulous Time and Talent annual auction developed by the Outreach Steering Committee, and our annual Music with a Mission to benefit our 3 community partners? What about folks here who organize a monthly meal for PADS recipients? And what about so much more? But I'm already well over my word limit for this presentation. I believe it is a guarantee that the less we give to Countryside, the less Countryside will be able to give back to us. Maybe not overnight, but easily within just 1 or 2 years. One caveat, those of you who cannot give more, I get it. Please don't let that stop you from coming. Disengagement is not the answer. Those of you who can give a little more, or even a lot more, I urge you to do so. Please raise your pledge for the sake of this unique faith based on reason, a faith that builds community and comforts the afflicted, while also, I hope, afflicting the complacent into realizing that today CCUU needs your generosity. Thank you.